Well, guys, the anticipation of the brand new episode of the Main Event Talk is over. Now it's here. It's being shown on YouTube. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the highly anticipated brand new episode of the Main Event Talk right here on YouTube. I am the Main Event Player to Super C. Come back at you. And you know what? There's a lot we need to talk about on this very special edition of the Main Event Talk. I've been waiting for a while to get the opportunity to talk about what took place at Wrestlemania 31. Did not get a chance to do it because of work and other things in that particular nature. There's a lot we need to cover, including the whole thing, my thoughts on AJ Lee's retirement from WWE, the whole thing with Scott Steiner apparently making threats to Hulk Hogan of killing him. I don't know if you heard about that story. And let's see, also possibly the worst Raw in the history of Monday Night Raw that took place this past Monday night, and everything else in that particular nature. So, with that being said, let me go ahead and start with, well, there is one thing I do want to kick off, and it's I was going to talk about AJ Lee's retirement, but I also want to talk about a few of the things that are happening in the world of professional wrestling, including, most of you guys have probably already heard about this, the fact that, as you guys know, about several weeks ago, Samoa Joe, no longer in TNA Wrestling, has signed with WWE and apparently is going to be in NXT first, which is a very, very good thing. And you know something? Samoa Joe is probably one of, well, probably just one person from TNA, or a couple of people from TNA, that went from that company to the WWE. But technically he is in the WWE, but he's starting off with NXT, which is a very good thing, because Samoa Joe, to me, former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, former X Division Champion, former Tag Team Champion. He was also a former Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion as well. Samoa Joe is someone that that I've admired since the days of Ring of Honor and since the days of TNA Wrestling, when it was actually badass. Some of his greatest matches that he had with the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels, and of course AJ Styles, the phenomenal AJ Styles. I dig some of those matches. Even the face-to-face encounters he had with Kurt Angle back in 2006, 2007. And I'll tell you, ever since then, you know, Joe has been a part of many things in TNA Wrestling, including he was a part of the Main Event Mafia for a while. And I believe he was also part of, if I remember correctly, well, of course, he was a part of the Beatdown Clan, which, you know, to me, it's kind of sad that he's no longer with the group, because, you know, honestly, the Beatdown Clan is truly one of the hottest factions going in TNA Wrestling right now, with MVP, Kenny King, and Low Key. And now with Joe out of the way, now Joe gets to focus on going to NXT, and he gets a chance to focus on, you know, trying to make himself a huge name in WWE. Now, the cool thing is, with Joe now in WWE, there's so many people that want to see him in very particular matches that will take place in NXT and in WWE. And one match that I am definitely looking to anticipate is seeing Samoa Joe go one-on-one against Kevin Owens, or as we all know, Kevin Steen. And Kevin Steen, as you know, is the current NXT champion. And I'll tell you, you know, seeing Joe and seeing Kevin Owens face to face, I mean, that's just, man, that, you know, it just has the makings of an awesome, awesome NXT match that will take place very, very soon. And then hopefully in the near future, we will see Samoa Joe in the WWE, you know, officially in the WWE within 1 year. In other words, what I'm saying is, as soon as Samoa Joe begins his career in NXT, I give him 1 year. 1 year to become NXT champion, and then after that, maybe there's a good possibility of seeing Samoa Joe in WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble and Survivor Series and all that sorts. But nonetheless, I can't wait to see Samoa Joe in NXT in the near future. He's done tremendous in Ring of Honor. He's done tremendous in TNA Wrestling. Now it's time for the Samoan Submission Machine to make a huge name for himself in NXT and in the WWE. Cannot wait for that. Okay, now that we got that part out of the way, let me talk about the retirement of AJ Lee. And let me tell you, You know, it does come as a complete shock to me that AJ Lee would retire. First of all, do I think it's a good move on AJ Lee's part for her to retire from WWE? And honestly, this is what I'm seeing. If you don't know what that is, that's a big question mark. Because, you know, when I first remember AJ Lee back in the days of the NXT when it appeared in Sci-Fi a long time ago, AJ Lee was one of those rare few women in the WWE or NXT, I'm sorry, that you would say, you know what, maybe she'll make it or maybe she won't make it. You know, it's kind of in between. Then all of a sudden, she makes it in the main event roster. She becomes part of Raw. She becomes a student with Natalia, the way I remember it and stuff. And then of course her relationship with Daniel Bryan, and then the whole thing with WrestleMania 28, when pretty much Daniel Bryan started doing the entire Yes movement. And then AJ Lee's career would catapult into something huger. I mean, she becomes a general manager for WWE Raw, and then goes ahead and wins the Divas Championship not once, not twice, but 3 times. Has many great matches with not just Paige, but with both the Bella Twins, Alicia Fox, Natalia, and many, many others. Now, keep in mind, though, I think even though her career started in 2011 in the WWE. Now, 2011 in the WWE, I'm not saying her career like from many, many years ago, because I know AJ Lee was in wrestling. I think she wrestled in OVW. I could be wrong. I need to get into my research a little bit more about AJ Lee. But I know she started her career a long time ago. And then, you know, of course, you know, she wins the title and everything else like that. And she has many, many great feuds, many, many great matches in the WWE. And of course, her last and final match was not only at WrestleMania with Paige, but also with Naomi and Paige last Monday, the Monday night after WrestleMania. So AJ Lee announcing her retirement, like I said, it's a big question mark. I mean, to me, so many factors come to mind. Is she done with WWE because there's nothing for her to accomplish? Or is she done because there's so many things that people are looking into? Like for instance, I heard that AJ Lee's pregnant. Then I'm hearing she's just leaving WWE because of CM Punk, her husband. And so many other tremendous factors involved. So, you know, my opinion personally, you know, I don't think AJ Lee should retire. I feel that, you know, even though I say it's a big question mark in my opinion, I still feel that AJ Lee has a lot to offer in WWE. And not only that, I feel that it would be great, and this is just a thought in my head, it would be great if AJ Lee were to leave the main roster. Hear me out. Leave the main roster on Raw and SmackDown and maybe go back to NXT for the obvious reason, and that is to win the NXT Women's Championship. I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, AJ Lee has already accomplished being a Divas Champion in the WWE. Why not go back to NXT and win that championship? And then you can officially retire and, you know, maybe make a few huge names on other people's parts, including everything with Charlotte and with Sasha Banks and others in that road. The whole point is, AJ Lee retiring, maybe in the near future we'll see AJ Lee come back in the ring. Because to me, the whole early retirement thing just basically means you're putting yourself away from the WWE and you just want to relax and chill out a little bit and then come right back in and do the whole thing all over again. So AJ Lee is retired, and I just want to say, I don't want to say thank you, AJ. I don't want to, because everyone's already done that. I just want to say best of luck in your future endeavors, and more importantly, there's a slight good chance we may see AJ Lee one more time. One more time. When? I don't know. But all I know is I don't think we've seen the last of AJ. You know, and personally, to me, also, the fact that when AJ Lee put this out on WWE.com, it would have been better if she would have shown up on Raw and would have officially announced her retirement and make it mean something. But instead, she just pretty much said it on WWE.com, left, and that was it. And I was waiting for the Bellas to bash in on AJ Lee. I was waiting for like Paige to come in and say thank you, and all the other divas to say thank you, because it would have meant a whole lot more. It would have meant a whole lot more if that were to take place. But that didn't happen. AJ Lee is officially retired from the WWE. Now she moves on, and we'll see what happens in the near future. Will she come back in the ring? I don't know. That's, like I said, huge question mark right there. Now that we got that part out of the way, I also want to talk about, I do want to bring up a couple of factors when it comes to the people I'm about to mention, but I want to mention the aftermath of WrestleMania in just a moment. I want to talk about, let me see if I can, trying to come up with a few other things, because I was given a list, and I was also given like many of these direct messages on my Twitter and some of these messengers that I get on my Facebook. I've answered the question about Samoa Joe. I've already answered the question about AJ Lee. And Monday Night Raw, first of all, and I'll tell you this straight up, this past Monday night that took place over in Austin, Texas, the only thing that was good about Monday Night Raw, the only thing that was good, was seeing Seth Rollins go one-on-one against Neville. Now, most of you guys know who Adrian Neville is. He was the former NXT champion over in NXT, and now he's the new superstar coming into WWE. He came out last week, the day after WrestleMania. Now, all of a sudden, he's a part of the WWE main roster right now. And everyone's been saying that he's going to come out as Superman and everything else like that. I didn't notice that until I noticed the cape, okay? I noticed the cape completely. And I was just like, really? But in a crazy way, the gimmick works. It actually does. I mean, I'm not too big of a fan of wrestlers that come out as ridiculous superheroes. Although, one superstar that actually made that work is former WWE superstar. He used to be known as Gregory Helms. And then he used to be known as the Hurricane. That actually worked. That was actually good. But this one, with Neville coming out, I see big things happening for Neville in the WWE. And with him having a match with Seth Rollins, that's all anybody could talk about. As far as the rest of the episode of Monday Night Raw, I mean, don't even get me started on the end of Raw. I mean, even though Seth Rollins came out with the title in his hand, and of course, you know, it's going to be Seth Rollins defending the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. Okay, Randy Orton's the #1 contender now, and you know, and like I said on Facebook and like I said on Twitter, I don't feel it. I don't feel it at all. It's one of those deals where you're just sitting back, relaxing, watching Monday Night Raw, and you're just saying to yourself, "Yeah, you don't say, yeah, that's going to happen at Extreme Rules. Cool, yeah." Wonder what's going to happen on TNA Wrestling or Lucha Underground, you know? It's one of those kind of deals. But I'll get to that in just a moment. Now that I've gotten that part out of the way and everything else like that, let's go ahead and talk about what I want to talk about, and that is the whole thing about WrestleMania, okay? The event itself, and then we're going to talk about the aftermath of WrestleMania, like I was supposed to have done last week, but did not get the opportunity. So now I get a chance to pull it off right here, right now. So what do I think of WrestleMania? I think, as always, just like every other event, every other WrestleMania event I've ever done, truly one of the best ones. Everything else like that, I digged it. The Intercontinental Championship matchup, the ladder match, was tremendous. It was great in so many levels. Although, in my opinion, there was one person that got screwed out of that whole Intercontinental Championship match. And I know what some people are thinking. They're thinking, oh, well, it's Bad News Barrett, but that don't mean shit. No, not Bad News Barrett. As a matter of fact, Bad News Barrett is innocent. The one person that got screwed out of this whole deal at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship Dean Ambrose. Oh yeah, it was Dean Ambrose, and the reason why I say Dean Ambrose is because I mentioned on a few main event talks that if Dean Ambrose has a match with Bad News Barrett, it needs to happen at WrestleMania, one-on-one, and then Dean Ambrose can have his WrestleMania moment by becoming the Intercontinental Champion and winning it at WrestleMania. But everything turned around in a huge way, which was good. I just wish it didn't go in that direction. But they had to go with that direction. The WWE had to go with that direction. So that's exactly what they did. So what do? You go ahead and get 7 competitors. You get 7 competitors in a ladder match. You make that be the first match. It was a very good move on WWE's part to make the Intercontinental Championship match, the ladder match, first. And in every way possible, what do? You get Luke Harper. Luke Harper power bombs Dean Ambrose right through a ladder, and you pretty much eliminate the actual winner, in my view. The actual winner. Daniel Bryan, on the other hand, he was the winner that everybody wanted. Everybody. You know? And to me, I would have been a whole lot better if Daniel Bryan went through the ladder and it'd be Dean Ambrose coming up and winning the championship. Because to me personally, the Intercontinental Championship should have been focused on Dean Ambrose and not Daniel Bryan. Don't get me wrong, no disrespect to the other competitors that were involved, from Dolph Ziggler to R-Truth, Luke Harper, and everyone. All great major talents, and everyone did what they were supposed to do. Unfortunately, I saw it as Dean Ambrose getting screwed out of the championship, and Daniel Bryan, he wins it. And as you guys know, Daniel Bryan is defending the Intercontinental Championship against Wade Barrett. It's going to take place over at Extreme Rules in a couple of weeks, so you know about that story. So Daniel Bryan wins it, hands down. It's over, it's done. And to me personally, like I said, it should have been Dean Ambrose. He should have won the whole thing. He should have had his WrestleMania moment from the start. But since that didn't happen, Daniel Bryan wins it. He's the Intercontinental Champion. And from what I was reading something about how Daniel Bryan is a Grand Slam winner, and they didn't count the United States Championship, which I kind of find that a little funny. So to me, Daniel Bryan to me is a Grand Slam winner. That's my opinion. That's how I see it. You don't see it. If they don't see it, they can all kiss my ass. That's how it goes. Now, the whole thing was Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton, truly the highlight of the match. It was all badass from head to toe. And then the whole thing with, you know, they call it the best RKO they've ever seen. You know how when Seth Rollins goes ahead and sets up that whole curb stomp, right? He goes ahead, puts it on, and he was trying to, I guess, curb stomp Randy Orton. Randy Orton pretty much lifts him up in the air. He comes up and gets the RKO right on him. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton defeats Seth Rollins, and, you know, it was the highlight of the match, obviously. But there's more to the story with Seth Rollins, which you're about to hear later on in this episode of the Main Event Talk. Now, let's talk about another matchup, which was pretty good, and it also wind the clock back to somewhere between 1998 and 1999. And I'm talking about the match between Sting and Triple H. Now, to me personally, the match was okay. It was great in so many levels. But some of the things that happened were unbelievable. And it just, I didn't think about it, but it kind of like was kicking in some way. So here's Triple H coming out, and the entrance was insanely ridiculous. How insane? You got Arnold Schwarzenegger coming out as a Terminator. And you know, of all the things Triple H has done, if I remember all the entrances correctly, he comes out, I think it was WrestleMania, I'm going to call, not 26, WrestleMania 27, where he comes out, the Knight in Shining Armors come out and everything else like that. Triple H comes down to For Whom the Bell Tolls from Metallica, which is pretty cool. Then WrestleMania 28 comes along, and Triple H comes out to Castle Grayskull. That's what it looked like. And I'm not sure what Triple H did at WrestleMania 29, so I'm going to skip that part. And then WrestleMania 30, it turns out Triple H was Shao Kahn. Yes, you remember Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. And then WrestleMania 31, the Terminators, here they all are standing, and Triple H just comes out like some kind of a damn robot. And typical Triple H fashion, it was stupid, but it was also pretty entertaining to watch. The whole match itself was great. It was basically two classic wrestlers going at it one on one. And then here comes DX. And to me, I expected DX to show up at WrestleMania. I mean, come on. We're talking about Triple H. We're talking about the King of Kings, the Cerebral Assassin. We are talking about the COO of WWE. He's going to pull every single rabbit out of a fucking hat, and that's exactly what he did. He goes ahead, he gets DX. Here comes Billy Gunn. Here comes the Road Dogg Jesse James. Here comes X-Pac. Bam, everything's all set. And then something you never thought you would see. You would see Sting coming off the top rope, and then he goes ahead and crashes on DX. Okay? That's what happens. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better than that, here I am, going outside, getting a beer, coming back inside, just chilling out, just watching to see how all this goes. Triple H is thinking he's got Sting right where he wants him. He's got the sledgehammer right in his hands, going up, and then all of a sudden, the NWO's music comes on. And I'm freaking out, okay? I'm freaking out from head to toe, left and right. I see Hall, I see Nash, I see Hogan. They all come out. And I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here? You get DX on one side with Triple H. And then you got the NWO, but whose side are they on? And sure enough, we had the Monday Night Wars take place right there at WrestleMania. DX versus the NWO. Yes, it was old. Yes, it was ridiculous for all these guys to meet up face to face. But hey, as Michael Cole and everybody else has been saying, it's WrestleMania. So let it hang. And pretty much it was hanging from head to toe in every way possible, and I loved it. Seeing the sledgehammer come into play, seeing the bat come into play, every way possible. And then in the end was the disappointment. And the disappointment being the fact that Triple H went ahead, took advantage, got a sledgehammer, knocked out Sting, 1, 2, 3. Sting is finished off. He's done. And to me, I think a lot of people will agree when I say I think the ending should have been much, much better. I think when you think about it, it's Triple H. He's a COO. I guess he decides who wins and who doesn't win. Or actually, Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon, decides who's going to win and who's not going to win at WrestleMania. He makes a decision by letting Triple H win over Sting. And then after that entire thing was over, here's NWO on one side with Sting, and here's DX with Triple H. And then Sting and Triple H shook hands, and how tremendous was that, huh? I mean, seeing them shake hands at WrestleMania, that was truly a WrestleMania moment for the ages. I dig the match. I think everything was cool. Now, I would like to get into a few more matches of WrestleMania, including the whole thing with Paige and AJ Lee. They won their tag team match against the Bellas. That took place as well. Then the whole thing, I didn't get a chance to see the beginning of the WrestleMania kickoff show. I know I saw some of it on my phone. I know that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, the winner of that match was the Big Show. And to me, first of all, I was hoping Damien Sandow to win it. Even though I don't really like Damien Sandow, I still think he could have won it. But it was appropriate in many ways because the Big Show was the one that won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So that took place. He wins it. Move on. And then you got the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team title matchup. The winner of that one was Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. So that took place at WrestleMania as well. The whole Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I mean, there's a lot I want to talk about that as well, but I think I'll leave that for another time when I have the opportunity. And of course, the huge news that had been broken out before WrestleMania was that Bray Wyatt was not going to be at WrestleMania because something about his ankle, something about it got shattered, it got healed, or some stuff, and that was the big concern. Will we see Bray Wyatt go one-on-one against The Undertaker? Well, sure enough, it actually happened. Bray Wyatt comes out with all of these scarecrow zombies, which was pretty cool. Then, of course, here comes a dead man looking as good as ever before. To me, is probably in the best shape of his life. He defeated Bray Wyatt in the middle of the ring. And regardless of what Bray Wyatt believes, and I've said this, Bray Wyatt is going to display the show the way he does. And then there was this one part in WrestleMania between Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker that was pretty cool. You know how he does that whole ridiculous spider thing, right? How he lifts himself up and everything else like that. Here's a dead man laying out flat on the ground, not doing a fucking thing. And Bray Wyatt is coming closer and closer, just like that. And then all of a sudden, The Undertaker lifts up, right? He lifts up, and then all of a sudden, like he just, like the spider just went right down or something like that. So, in the end, Bray Wyatt found out firsthand why The Undertaker is the dead man, why he's the Grim Reaper, and why he is a legend in this business. The Undertaker defeated Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. That took place. It was done. It was over with. Now, there was a few WrestleMania moments that I wanted to capture, including one moment that people are still talking about, not just about WrestleMania, but it took place on ESPN, took place on Fox Sports, took place on Good Morning America, took place almost everywhere, even in the UFC. Now, what am I talking about? Everybody knows about Fast and Furious 7, which came out just a couple of days ago. The Rock has appeared in the movie, which The Rock did also appear at WrestleMania. And then this whole face-to-face confrontation between him, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H. The Rock gets punked out by Stephanie, and that's what happened. Got punked out by Stephanie. Then goes outside, and I thought he was going to leave, but typical Rock, he has an idea, he has a plan. He's walking around, and who comes from outside where the audience is? Ronda Rousey. Oh yeah, you know who she is. She's the most, from what I'm hearing, the most dangerous woman in all of the UFC. And then a lot of thoughts were popping out of my head when I saw Ronda. And the first thing I said was, it would be cool to see Ronda Rousey go face to face with Stephanie McMahon, because then it would be cool to see Stephanie McMahon being put in her place at WrestleMania. Even though Ronda Rousey did do that, I was expecting a better impact. Like, instead of having an arm bar on Stephanie McMahon, I was expecting more of a punch to the face. A knockout blow, something that would actually give me a reason to watch Stephanie McMahon and Ronda Rousey going at it. And then after that whole thing is, now all of a sudden you see this on the news, you hear it, and everyone is saying, you know what, how about we have Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania 32. Will that happen? I'm not going to say it is. Not going to, because everyone talks, everyone says a bunch of things, and then it doesn't happen at all. So, now let's get that part out of the way, and let's talk about the World Heavyweight Champ. Oh, wait a minute. Forgot about another matchup, and, well, honestly, it's not worth talking about, but we're talking about the United States Championship. That matchup took place between John Cena and Rusev, and what happens? Well, as I predicted, Lana would go ahead and cost Rusev the match. John Cena would go ahead, put the AA on Rusev, 1, 2, 3. John Cena becomes the new United States Champion by defeating Rusev in the middle of the ring, and Rusev gets pissed off at Lana. Not a big surprise. Not a big surprise that all that took place, because that was pretty much all of our predictions. We all knew that John Cena was going to win the United States Championship. We all knew he was going to end the streak of Rusev. And we all knew that Lana would be responsible for the loss of Rusev. So now, word is, Rusev is going to take on John Cena for the United States Championship at Extreme Rules. So that's also another match that's going to take place in a couple of weeks. Now that all that's out of the way, let's talk about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship matchup between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. All I can say is, Suplex City, bitch. And that's pretty much the thing. Suplex City. I mean, Brock Lesnar suplexed the living hell out of Roman Reigns. But you know something? You got to give it to Roman Reigns. He went at it like a warrior. He did everything he could to take down the beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Now, I want to bring this little part up that I've been reading on Facebook, that I've been reading on Twitter. Something about Brock Lesnar bringing a blade. You know how when wrestlers, referees would intend to bring wrestlers blades and start cutting in whatever spot that happens. To me personally, I always feel like that's a ridiculous move. It's stupid. I mean, for a wrestler to bring a blade just to cut themselves to make the match more interesting, I mean, it would be a little bit obvious. But if their head gets split open on, like, say, a turnbuckle, or not a turnbuckle, more of the post, if they get hit their head in the post and they start bleeding because of that, that is believable. Very, very believable. And I saw the part where Roman Reigns goes ahead and he pushes Brock Lesnar real hard, and his head, bam, hits the post, and then all of a sudden he's bleeding right here in the head. And I was like, holy shit, this is getting real serious. So all of a sudden, throughout the entire matchup, and we all were anticipating to see Roman Reigns defeat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. However, sure enough, a few minutes, I would say probably 20 minutes into the match. I mean, and keep in mind though, I was keeping track of time here. It was about 9:55 when this whole thing took place. Here comes Seth Rollins coming down the aisle, right? 9:55. We're only 5 minutes away from the end of WrestleMania, right? Seth Rollins goes ahead, curb stomps Lesnar, curb stomp Roman Reigns, and he pins he pins Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns both lose to Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins, he cashed in his Money in the Bank, made it a triple threat match. A good move on his part. Not only did he become WWE World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania, but he became the first Money in the Bank winner to cash in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. And I always felt that that should have been Dolph Ziggler's moment and not Seth Rollins. But it is what it is. Seth Rollins is the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The crowd went completely insane, right? The crowd was so insane. They love the fact that it was Seth Rollins who became champion, not Lesnar or Roman Reigns. Now, as most of you guys know, Brock Lesnar has already re-signed with WWE. So he is going to be in it for about another year or 2 years, I guess depending on how much they paid him. He's already done with MMA, so he's no longer going to be in the UFC. That's already done. That's over with. So now Brock Lesnar is fully committed to the WWE, which, to me, it's kind of shocking when Brock Lesnar says this on SportsCenter, and, you don't know if he's being for real about what he's saying, or if he was being sincere about the fact that he was more of an entertainer and he wanted to do what's right for the fans and everything else like that. And that really shocked me. But it shocks me more that he is going to pursue staying with WWE and continue doing what he does. So MMA's out, UFC's gone, and now Brock Lesnar is back with WWE. He loses the championship to Seth Rollins. Now, the question that people have asked me is Seth Rollins worth being WWE champion? My answer is, well, I'm going to say yes for that one moment. For that one moment. Because as far as I'm concerned, I mean, we knew Seth Rollins was going to go ahead and take advantage of the whole situation. And my plan was for Lesnar to somehow lose to Roman Reigns, and then somehow Seth Rollins would come in, take advantage of a situation, beat Roman Reigns 1, 2, 3, and then that's it. He would have been champion right there. Or it would have been the other way around. It would have been Seth Rollins trying to come in, cash in, Money in the Bank, blah, blah, blah. And then Roman Reigns would hit it with a spear, 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins would lose, and Roman Reigns would still be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. But If that happens, the crowd would completely go insane, and I don't mean insane as in they're going to cheer for Roman Reigns. No, they're going to go ahead and boo the living shit out of Roman Reigns. Pretty much like what they did over at Levi's Stadium. They pretty much booed the living shit out of Roman Reigns. They didn't care if he made a comeback at Brock Lesnar. They didn't care if he did anything to Brock Lesnar as long as he didn't win the match. And to me personally, Brock Lesnar got screwed. And Roman Reigns got screwed. And there were a lot of people, including Roman Reigns' family, that were very upset at how the outcome of WrestleMania came out. So now all of a sudden you're put in a position where Roman Reigns gets an opportunity to go after the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. However, things start to change. That whole triple threat match that took place this past Monday night on Raw, and now Randy Orton wins it, and now you get Randy Orton to go one-on-one against Seth Rollins at Extreme Rules for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So now this brings up the question, where does Roman Reigns now fit, now that this whole thing has been blown up in his face? To me personally, there's a lot of unanswered questions with Roman Reigns. And to me, take it how you want it. Take it however you want it. As far as I'm concerned, Brock Lesnar didn't beat Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns didn't beat Brock Lesnar. A lot of unanswered questions between these two right here. Now, before I go ahead and talk about that, I want to talk about what happened after WrestleMania. Monday Night Raw was completely, utterly insane, and that crowd was just going absolutely nuts. And speaking of going nuts, that leads me to Brock Lesnar. I knew Brock Lesnar was going to get pissed, but I had no idea that he would show up at the very beginning of Raw. Paul Heyman going on the stick, saying what he wants to say and everything else like that, and knew exactly what the factor was. So now it all comes down to this. Paul Heyman makes a lot of, critical decisions, makes a lot of stuff on, and then he goes ahead and says that Brock Lesnar is invoking his rematch clause on Raw, which, for the first time in over a decade, Brock Lesnar would get an opportunity at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on Monday Night Raw. And it would be the first time we've seen Lesnar in a long, long time, and now he does. However, I already knew, and I think everybody else already knew, the outcome of what was going to happen. But I think Brock Lesnar did take it a little too far. So here's Seth Rollins. He comes back. He's all jet lag and whatever the fuck excuse he comes up with. And then he goes ahead. He's going to defend the championship against Brock Lesnar, right? That's taking place on Raw. And then, while all this was taking place, Seth Rollins goes ahead, has the nerve to have the WWE Championship and put it right in the face of Lesnar, and Lesnar's already pissed enough as it is, all right? So, referee's getting ready to ring the bell. It hasn't happened yet. Seth Rollins is looking at the championship, and he realizes it'll be the last time he holds on to that championship. He walks right over outside to the fucking ring, goes ahead, gets a microphone, starts making up an excuse, and then says that Brock Lesnar is entitled to a rematch, but it's not tonight. Very smart move. Very smart move. Unfortunately, it was a very bad move at the hands of Seth Rollins. So what happens? Seth Rollins tries to walk away, and Brock Lesnar runs out like a fucking cat and goes after Seth Rollins. Tries everything in his power to keep him in the ring. And holy shit, Brock Lesnar was trying to get his hands on Seth Rollins, but he couldn't. So Seth Rollins goes ahead, does what any typical whimpering champion does. He wants to hold on to the title a little longer. He takes it. He runs like a little biatch. J&J security gets their ass kicked, and then it only just begun from there. Brock Lesnar not only would take out J&J security, but did you see the announce table? Brock Lesnar picks up the announce table and knocks out both Booker T and JBL. Wow. And then Michael Cole. Michael Cole. Brock Lesnar, I guess got a hold of him somehow, brought him into the ring, and you know what? That crowd went completely insane over the fact that, you know, hey, this is my opinion, this is my thought, regardless of what anybody thinks. Michael Cole, he's a badass announcer. He's good at what he does. He learned from the best in the form of JR. That's the truth. But if you're going to go ahead and start talking about his shitty commentary, you can go ahead and do that. But you have to understand something. Michael Cole's been in business for a long, long time. And it's not the first time he's done something shitty. JR has done a lot of things shitty, but people still like him, no matter what. So Brock Lesnar goes ahead, picks up Michael Cole, puts him in the F5, and then that's it. And you want to know what the ridiculous thing was? Let me tell you what's ridiculous. The fact that I kept looking at the internet, I kept looking at my Facebook, looking at the Twitter, and all they could talk about was Michael Cole's shoe, rest in peace, right? I saw that, I'm like, really? Really? You're going to go ahead and put that fucking shit on. Michael Cole's shoe, born 19 whatever and died 2015. And I just saw that and the things wrestling fans put out, stupid or not. In this case, it is stupid. So, here's an even more stupider thing. So Brock Lesnar goes ahead and F5s Michael Cole, gets that done, and then goes ahead and tries to get to the cameraman and tries to go ahead and put him on and set him up for the F5, right? And then here comes Stephanie McMahon. Here comes Stephanie McMahon coming out and pretty much saying, Brock, don't do it. Brock, he's a cameraman, he's a civilian, blah, 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 and everything. I feel like I've heard this before from Stephanie. Since when does Stephanie McMahon decide to now care about the employees? Really? So she now decides to go ahead and start caring about the employees. Let's see. You didn't suspend Kane when he pretty much tombstoned Daniel Bryan on not just on the announcer's table, but on the steel steps. And you're going to go ahead and suspend Lesnar because he takes out the announce team and then he goes ahead and hits an innocent cameraman? Oh, wow. That's your suspension. Now, this is my opinion. This is my thought. A suspension isn't even necessary at all. Yes, we understand that there's rules, there's regulations, and all sorts of other crap, okay? But here's the thing. This is WWE. You're going to hurt somebody anyway. You've hurt JR, you've hurt JBL, you've hurt Michael Cole, you've hurt Booker T, you've hurt Jerry the King Lawler, you've hurt everybody, and you're going to go ahead and suspend Lesnar for that? What kind of fucking bullshit is that? And I agreed with the crowd when they went ahead and started saying bullshit. And here's the thing. And I agree with this. The fans are getting behind Lesnar a whole lot more because it seems like Brock Lesnar is the only person that anyone even gives a damn about. Before, nobody cared. Now, all of a sudden, people are starting to like Brock Lesnar a whole lot more. So, Brock Lesnar, does he deserve to get suspended? The answer is no. My opinion, no. Bring Brock Lesnar back. Does he deserve to be fined? Well, the answer to that is obviously yes, because there are commentators, and that there was really no need for that. But then again, it's like you got to prove a point at some time, right? So you go ahead, you pick up Michael Cole and you go ahead and do that, and the crowd goes completely nuts because let's be honest, nobody really cares about Michael Cole. But nowadays, ever since that whole incident, now people are starting to care a whole lot more about Michael Cole because now the announce team, JBL's back, Booker T's back, and then you got Byron Saxon, that black commentator, which, I got nothing against black people, first of all. Sorry for saying that. But Byron Saxon just doesn't bring the excitement to Raw like Michael Cole would, okay? But nonetheless, that's what took place on Monday Night Raw. That's what took place. And is it just me, or was Monday Night Raw from last week way, 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 way fucking better than this past Monday night on Raw? It was so much better because, holy crap, that crowd was just. It's one of those times of years at WrestleMania, after WrestleMania, when the crowd just doesn't give a fuck about the good guys anymore. Okay, even though they've done good, they did this, they did that, it's a heel audience. And sometimes a lot of people seem to forget that at WrestleMania, the night after WrestleMania changes things around, you know? But then when the aftermath after Raw is over, now it starts to become normal. And I'm just there at home watching Raw, and I'm just like, yeah, Kane is making a match, and then there's Seth Rollins. He's got an opportunity against Randy Orton at Extreme Rules, and then Ryback wins his match, Luke Harper wins his match, and it just, people weren't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it, and I'm sure as hell know that you guys weren't feeling what happened on Raw. So, with that being said, now it leads up to this question. What's going to happen at WWE Extreme Rules coming up in the next couple of weeks? We'll all have to find out. Will the WWE World Heavyweight Championship change hands? Will something happen with the Intercontinental Championship matchup? What is in the future for Roman Reigns? What's also in the future for Sting as well? I want to bring that up as well because everybody's been asking about Sting, you know, ever since he had his matchup with Triple H at WrestleMania. Where does Sting go from here? Personally, I hope we do see a whole lot more Sting. As a matter of fact, I think I'll make a prediction. I think we should see Sting again, but at SummerSlam. I think Sting should have a few more matches under his belt in the WWE. And if there's one match that I think Sting should have, one match at SummerSlam that I think needs to happen, it should be Sting versus Bray Wyatt at WWE SummerSlam. That's my opinion. That's my thought. And if you guys have any other opinions that you want to go ahead and put out, you go ahead and go to my Facebook page. You can go ahead and go to my Twitter page and give me your ideas of who Sting should face. Because to me personally, I think Sting versus Bray Wyatt is probably the only match that truly sticks out the most when it comes to SummerSlam. You know, Sting comes out of WrestleMania. The future looks pretty bright. And how much more are we going to see of Sting at WrestleMania? I guess the whole 6 appearances clause in the contract's already done. So now it leads up to the question, will we see more Sting? I hope we do see more Sting. I hope we see him at the Royal Rumble. I hope we see him at Survivor Series. And I hope we see him at SummerSlam. And I hope we see him at WrestleMania next year as he takes on The Undertaker. And I can't wait for that shit to happen. So, I've talked enough. I've said enough. And now that that's all out of the way, that's going to do it for this edition of the Main Event Talk right here on YouTube. And like I said before, you can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/maineventplayer. You can also follow me on Twitter, and I've gotten a lot of Twitter followers in the past couple of days, over 1,365 Twitter followers. So follow me at twitter.com/@maineventplayer. You can also find me on Instagram and instagram.com/@maineventplayer. Check out all the latest pics, including some of the pics that I put together from WrestleMania and so much more. So once again, guys, thank you for watching this very special edition of the Main Event Talk. I'm sorry that it took this long, but I needed to get a lot of shit out of my fucking chest. And sure enough, I got it out. So now the question remains, what's going to happen in Extreme Rules? Who knows? TNA Wrestling, is it getting good or is it getting worse? You'll have to find out about that. And of course, Lucha Underground, I had a chance to look at it. A couple of more championship belts are being made, including the, I guess there's a triple threat tag team championship match, I think. They're putting a tournament down to decide who's going to be the next triple threat tag team champions. So, or 3-man tag team champions. I don't know, but Lucha Underground is getting a whole lot better every time I watch it on the El Rey Network, every Wednesday night on the El Rey Network. So, once again, thank you for watching this very special edition of the Main Event Talk. The main event's going to go ahead and go. I feel a need to go ahead and get out of here, go get myself a beer, go get myself a shot, and then go right to sleep and wake up and do the whole thing all over again. Thank you for watching, guys. Why? Because I can and I want to. Any questions? Enough said.